Yo, what's up, motherfucker? My name is Grieves,
My name's Budo.
and you're watching Back
Spin
T.
V.
Boom.
I guess it started when the lights went out and everybody started running around in circles trying to figure it out. I could feel it wedged in my ribs, it felt freezing as my cold air blew out. Danced through the evening, paranormal, slowly being called to the gleam, where the ghosts gather nightly and sell the devil their dreams. I observe tales from the other side of the curb.
Well, I'm Grieves. This is Budo. We are a rapper-producer combo from Seattle, Washington. We represent a crew called Rhymesayers Entertainment. Yeah, we just put out a record with Rhymesayers called Together Apart. Came out June 21st this summer, and we're out here on the Rhymesayers / Carhartt European tour, traveling around. We're in Hamburg right now, partying like a little piggy in this fortress with the disco ball and the catering and this sexy little red room over there, and yeah.
Side of the curb, holding concrete notepad, scribble down my words in the limelight. This is what it's like to bleed ink. Put your fingers in it, paint me a picture of what you think. Make it beautiful and make it
No,
look
Together
like
Apart, Grease and I spend the majority of our life on the road, playing shows in America and really across the world. And we've had to live our lives like kind of apart from the people that we love, from our family, from our friends, and from our loved ones, and so it's really kind of a metaphor for how we've had to live our lives, and the kind of the space that we sort of physically place between us and those comforts back home, and then really like the struggle to kind of maintain those connections and the phone calls and the emails and the text messages and all of those things that kind of make up the sense of home that we have to piece together while we're on the road. And then the other meaning, which is actually really like a wonderful thing for us, is the fact that, we are on the road and we are away from our friends and family, but we do get to walk into these rooms that are filled with strangers, and we get to come to Hamburg, Germany, where we've never been before, and to walk in a room and find 5, 6, 7, 800 people that we don't know at all. And maybe they don't know each other at all either, but for that, for the 30 minutes that we're on stage and for the 5 hours, which is amazing that the Rhymesayers tour, extends through, it's a community, and we're all together in this kind of shared space, and everybody's focused on music and just having this kind of like momentary communal experience, and so that very much is what Together Apart is about, is just what we've begun to take like such strength and such energy from those crowds that have centered around the music that we're making, because that really becomes our home too. So Together Apart is very much a description of that dynamic.
I'm like, this is what it's like to bleed ink. Put your fingers in it, paint me a picture of what you think. Make it beautiful and make it look like love. Make it hang from the heavens, make it break my trust. Make it real, make it dangerous, make it out of the rough.
Shit. Our first endeavor into working with each other was also kind of how we got to know each other, and that was when we sat down and we made the record 88 Keys and Counting, which was re-released on Rhymesayers when we first signed with them, and that defined our relationship as friends and as artists as well. So a lot of this is deep rooted in the art that we make, because one of the first times that we ever really hung out, or the first time that we actually really did hang out, was when we sat down, we made music together. So that's always been the basis or the foundation of our friendship, our working relationship, and kind of how we got to know each other and how we continue to know each other. But it develops and it changes as time goes, because people and art change very frequently, and I think that's actually really cool, especially for two dudes that are going to be stuck with each other for a while. So it's good that those things can kind of redevelop each other or themselves frequently. And that's, the difference between 88 Keys and Together Apart is pretty strong. Like, that was 88 Keys was kind of like a darker, moody, kind of like has like a cloud over it, And that's kind of what we were working for, I guess, you know. And it was also for me the first time that I had experienced in kind of what he's more familiar with, and that's kind of stepping away from the samples and working more with just more raw and original compositions that, you know, no records and stuff like that, even though we did use some records for some textures and stuff like that. And there were like 1 or 2 sample songs on 88 Keys because of my ass. Oh yeah, Catapults. So yeah, you know, and but all that changed because that was also when I started to get into singing, and Budo saw that side of me and really brought it out. And as things changed towards Together Apart, that's where I started singing more. Things became much more melodic based and harmony based, and the space that we were looking for when we met each other and started making music, that space that we kind of wanted in 88 Keys and Counting, we really achieved when we made Together Apart. All the background space, where everything lies, I think is exactly where we wanted it. And the way that we got it mixed is just how we wanted it. You know, it's like we take these raw textures, but we mix it in an almost top 40 format. Like we mixed it where radio singles get mixed, you know, but we're coming in there with just raw material, which was really cool for us and cool for the engineer and everyone that got to work on the record. So.
Make it real, make it dangerous, make it out of the rust, make it passionate and impossible to touch. It's forever, slowly resurrected from the dust when you understand it's.
Oh yeah, actually Seattle, not at all. Well, On the Rocks was recorded in Seattle, but that was when we assumed that the record was already done, because we recorded the whole entire record mixed and recorded at Blast Off Studios in New York City in Manhattan. So we did it all there. We already had 2 songs. From
Colorado?
3 songs from Colorado. That Heartbreak Hotel,
and
Back Against the Bottom, and Against the Bottom. Oh no, that was New York.
No, Against the Bottom was.
Okay, so 4 songs. 4 songs that got started in Colorado, but we were living in New York, you know. So we were working at a studio out there, and then we got the studio that we really wanted to mix in New York. So we just rushed in and we did it all there.
Everything with the exception of On the Rocks was sort of like finished in New York, you know.
On the Rocks was a fluke to add to the record because we were done. We had just gotten off an Atmosphere tour, and I was just jonesing to make some music. So I sat down in my basement and I made that beat, and then I wrote to it, demoed it, sent it to Sadiq, and I was like, "What do you think about this for like new direction for a new album?" He goes, "I think you just made the single for your record." And I was like, "I thought we were done with the record." He's like, "We are, but we're putting that on it." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
You always got me running home. Full of roses on my blood and brittle bones, my soul and open throne. No, because I make the music because it's kind of a therapeutic thing for me, especially the writing process. So if I was limiting myself, if I was going, I shouldn't write this, then what the fuck am I writing music for, you know? If I'm worried about what other people are going to think about it, then there's no point at all in me ever making music, unless it was like some crazy like racist shit or something like that. But that would never happen. Like, it's just that's how I'm feeling, and you know, you don't have to like it, you don't have to feel that way. That doesn't have to be you, but that's my music, and so I'm gonna do it the way that I feel, I guess. And that was a fucked up time for me that I was going through. Like, those 2 years were a rough one for me. So that's kind of what came out of that record. It's amazing to be able to create something that takes you across the ocean, but not only takes you across the ocean, but puts you in a situation where your idols become your peers, you know? Like, I grew up listening to these guys. I fucking love these dudes. Like, I buy their records. I listen to their music, like, legitimately. It's awesome. And it's really cool to be a part of that and to run with those guys and hear their stories and be influenced by them day after day after day is something that I can't trade or would trade for anything in the world. This is amazing. Yeah, I spoke a whisper in the dark one night. Watch it take form in front of me. You mimic my life. It seemed natural, especially watching.
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think there's a much more of a focus on kind of traditional hip hop here that I've noticed, at least, especially in Germany and in Switzerland, and in Paris too. And so some of the things that resonate with American audiences don't necessarily resonate over here, and vice versa. But I think generally speaking, like, especially considering the fact that there's a language barrier in certain places. No, I mean, you put a room full of people together that are all like kind of interested in having a good time and in sharing that experience together, and we're sharing it with them. And it's just, it's a heartfelt thing, So I think at the end of the day, yeah, there's like little nuanced differences, but big picture stuff, like, no, it all feels, it just feels the same, it feels good, and it feels good in the States too. So it's certainly something that I think kind of transcends like the location stuff a little bit, and transcends the language stuff a little bit too, which is really cool. So
the truth of it is standing outside, playing cards in the rain. You would never beat the game it plays. You can only turn around and lick the blood from your own switchblade. It's forever, slowly resurrected from the dust. When you understand it's everything.
Do hardcore metal.
Oh yeah, you haven't heard Together Apart? No, there's a long history of Rhymesayers artists being on that tour. Atmosphere did it for several years, and POS has done it, and so Dilated Peoples did it. Yeah, so there's certainly like there was a road paved for us in that lane. But yeah, I mean we were like one of maybe 3 hip hop acts in the midst of a lot of other hardcore and punk and rock music, and I think we were both a little bit skeptical of our chances of sort of like people liking us, but it was a really transformative thing. It was really amazing to kind of get up there and play music that really stuck out in a very unique way and allowed us to get in front of an audience of kids that we would never ever get in front of in another setting, and really surprised us. Like, we were surprised by just how open these kids were. This is a very strange context.
Balance your motherfucking camera.
What's up, man? You gotta. Yeah, no. It was awesome, and it was something that I think pleasantly surprised like both of us in terms of how valuable it was and how open-minded those kids really were. I mean, I think that we were expecting those kids to be very closed off to new experiences and to new music, and it kind of blew our minds to see them open up to us. So it was cool.
Made out of broken pieces of tile, you can see the thoughts running. Chase them around for miles if you want it. People say that old road is haunted if you travel on it.
It's home.
Yeah, it's our home, man. You gotta, you have to stay rooted where you live, because that's important, especially when you're traveling around the country and stuff. Like, it's important to bring those things home to the community that you live in, and the other artists that are trying to do the same thing. So yeah, we definitely stay connected and tapped into the local scene in Seattle.
Yes and no. I mean, I think that was certainly that was the last time that like Seattle music as like a thing gained national attention. But there's been a lot of change and a lot of progression since then. And grunge is certainly still something that I think, defines Seattle, defines part of Seattle. But there's so much more there. And there's a hip hop scene there now that's just really vibrant and really full of life and full of like kind of young energy, and people like Saul and Macklemore and the Blue Scholars and Grinch and
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
Sir Mix, little dude named Sir Mix-a-Lot. Yeah, no. So there's a lot. Not to say that grunge was not significant, because it was amazing, but it was also something that was a part of a much bigger picture that's still growing and building.